Welcome to Pod Me If You Can TV. Today's film is Resting Place, and I got it as a part of this 10-pack of movies. It's all Hallmark movies, so they're very predictable. Hallmark has this habit of really spelling things out to an audience. Today's film, Resting Place, stars John Lithgow and Morgan Freeman. And it's one of the earlier films in Morgan Freeman's career, although he did a lot of TV movies and bit parts and stuff. So it's 1986, and the director John Corty is a TV director, makes TV movies, rather, and he's most famous for directing Caravan of Courage and Ewok Adventure. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it, Lloyd?
Yeah, I think I've seen Ewok Adventure.
Well, that might be it. Is there a caravan involved?
I don't think so.
Maybe it isn't then. So the film, basically the plot is, in 1972, John Lithgow's character, Major Kendall Laird, is escorting the body of an army soldier, Lieutenant Dwight Johnson, back to the parents, Luther and Ada, who are played by Morgan Freeman, and CCH Pounder plays the mother. So basically, the small town is racially divided. The cemetery is for Caucasians only up until this point in 1972, which causes an issue because there's a law in Rockville, the small town, and they take the body to the cemetery. They're trying to do it all in one day, and they get stopped. And it's a case that he won. He was nominated for a Silver Star amongst his army buddies, and like whether or not this hero and this man who's an American who served his country should be able to have this resting place, basically, if to quote the title. So John Lithgow's character, his orders are to render all reasonable assistance to help bury their son, which includes now investigating on behalf of the town's newspaper. So they can do a story, so they can drum up interest, so they can basically bury this Lieutenant Dwight Johnson in this white Caucasian-only cemetery. So he goes about interviewing all of the men who were in his platoon, all the army guys, and trying to find out what kind of man Lieutenant Dwight Johnson was, who we obviously never meet. We never meet in flashbacks or anything like that. And so we only have this photograph and, photos of him as a child to go off. So pretty much all of the platoon have been told what to say. They all have exactly the same backstory of this man. They all have a reluctance to say anything other than it was raining, all hell broke loose, and yeah, he was a good Joe. And they repeat those same three phrases in every single interview, which Hallmark has a habit of hitting you over the head with. John Lithgow replays them on cassette tape and goes, just listens to the cassette tape over and over and again. Well, there's a Pod Me If You Can favourite in this film, Lloyd.
Yep.
Emmett Walsh makes an appearance.
Cool.
Of course he does.
He's a great character actor.
He's appeared in everything, and we keep seeing him.
Him and Michael Ironside.
Yeah, the two of them. They're the most Pod Me If You Can TV seen people. He plays an old friend of John Lithgow's who served in Vietnam with him, and basically he plays off of him because you can't have John Lithgow sitting in a room talking to himself. He has to have a buddy. So Emmett Walsh plays that buddy, who he can say, what if they're all... This is a conspiracy, he can't just seem like an insane person talking to himself. One guy requests a lawyer, which is really interesting, before he speaks to him. So he's like, am I on the record? So there's all suspicious behaviour around it. They do suspicion very well. However, as a Hallmark film, you can probably guess the ending, Lloyd, can't you? Because Hallmark films generally, they have like a happy ending and everything resolves. And you're not going to have the Caucasian cemetery remain whites only, if you will. Are you? Because the whole time we're just waiting for the pieces to fall into place. Look, there's a really great scene, my favourite moment in the TV movie, where a black soldier is explaining how it was for him in the army. And he talks about how he was pumping his blood into a white soldier and saying that when he had enough blood to come around and realize what was going on, he tried to stop them. And then the medic said to him that he would die if he didn't have this blood transfusion, and he had to think about it before he let the black guy's blood into his body. And the way it's delivered in this great little monologue, just by this guy that he's interviewing, really sums up the racism of the time, and it really sort of, spoke volumes for that guy's acting ability.
Wow.
Sorry, mate.
No, I was just wondering, do they all share the same screen time, or is it a case where they bill an actor, like they showcase him, or he's going to be in this movie, but he's actually only in it for a few minutes?
Morgan Freeman was that character because he's the father. He basically just looks sorrowful and mourns and has a couple of lines here and there, but not a huge part for him.
Sure.
John Lithgow's the star. He was nominated for an Emmy for Best Actor for this performance. He didn't win, but it's still very solid, and it's very moody and thoughtful, and he plays a good kind of outsider looking in for the audience, brings you into the story really well. Ultimately, I mean, it's an okay movie. It's very, very similar to Courage Under Fire, which is Denzel Washington film where he goes around interviewing Matt Damon and others.
Is that the one with Meg Ryan?
Meg Ryan as well, yeah. About the incidents that happen, and it shows it all in flashback. That's a more Hollywood version of this film. But there's a lot of kind of similarities there. A Few Good Men, you get that kind of military vibe as well. Military films, I think, have their own kind of feel to them, Lloyd.
Yeah, definitely.
But ultimately very predictable resting place, and it is out there on this 10-pack. I'm happy to list the other 10 films that are on this pack in the YouTube comments here. So if you guys are interested in seeing Sarah Jessica Parker or James Garner or Angela Lansbury films, they're all here, and we'll try and get to them in PodMe if you can, if you like. If you are interested, you can find more at www.podmeifyoucan.com.